Hey guys, today we drift into the quiet beginnings of everything. A time before stars, before light, before even the concept of color. Imagine the universe as an endless ocean of darkness, perfectly still, perfectly cold. There are no suns, no planets, not even a whisper of warmth. Only hydrogen, floating aimlessly in a sea of nothing. So, before you get comfortable, take a moment to like the video and subscribe, but only if you genuinely enjoy what I do here. Wherever you are, let the world slow down for a while. Soften your gaze, let the hum of life around you fade, and gently drift with us into tonight's quiet exploration. Now, picture yourself floating in that darkness. The early universe is only a few 100 million years old. Young by cosmic standards. There's no light yet, but everything is pregnant with potential. Tiny fluctuations in density, invisible ripples in the vast cosmic sea, begin to pull matter together under gravity's gentle hand. It's so slow that even eternity would have to wait. Hydrogen atoms begin to cluster, drawn by their own faint attraction. Over unimaginable eons, those clouds grow thicker, heavier, and deep in their centers, the first sparks of pressure and heat are born. You don't hear it. There's no sound in space. But if you could translate the language of physics into something like music, this would be the first note, a low hum of creation. The first stars are igniting. They are nothing like the stars you know today. They're enormous, hundreds of times the mass of our sun. They burn blue and white, hotter than anything that would ever follow. In their furious brightness, they begin to reshape everything around them. They flood the universe with light, transforming the darkness that ruled for hundreds of millions of years into a glowing dawn. This moment, the cosmic dawn, is when the universe opened its eyes. You drift closer to one of these stars. Its surface is a storm of plasma, rolling like an endless sea of fire. You can almost feel the radiation ripple past you. Not burning, just softly vibrating through the emptiness. It's a paradox. The hottest places in existence, surrounded by the coldest void imaginable. These first suns live fast and die young. Within only a few million years, a blink compared to the universe's age, they explode, scattering heavy elements into space. Iron, carbon, oxygen, the seeds of future worlds, all born from their brief lives. As you watch, you start to realize that silence isn't emptiness. It's peace. Even in this vast void, everything is rhythm. Clouds collapsing, light spreading, galaxies taking shape like constellations in a painter's first strokes. And then, somewhere far off, another star flickers to life. Then another, like candles being lit one by one across an infinite night. The darkness isn't gone, but it's no longer lonely. Every new spark is a story waiting to unfold, a reminder that creation often begins in stillness. If you could hover here forever, you'd see the early universe slowly weaving itself into patterns. Thin threads of light forming cosmic webs, connecting young galaxies across unimaginable distances. It's delicate, almost fragile, but it's how everything you know, every atom in your body, began. Tonight, you're not just learning about stars. You're returning to the first heartbeat of existence, to the moment when nothing became something, and something began to shine. The universe, once a silent void, now hums softly with the glow of its newborn suns. And as that light spreads, you drift deeper into calm, into wonder, and into sleep. You drift deeper into the vastness, through clouds so immense they could swallow 1,000 solar systems whole. They are cold and dark, made mostly of hydrogen and helium, the simplest ingredients in the universe. waiting for something to happen. The silence is complete, yet the airless space around you hums with invisible tension. Every atom is waiting, suspended in an endless pause before creation continues its breath. You hover at the edge of a molecular cloud, watching as gravity begins its slow and steady work. Tiny variations, mere whispers of density, start to grow. One region pulls just a little harder than another, then another, and soon the cloud begins to swirl, condense, and collapse under its own weight. The invisible becomes visible. At the center, heat builds. It's faint at first, a warmth too weak to glow. But as the collapse continues, particles crash together faster and faster. Pressure rises. Hydrogen atoms begin to fuse, merging to form helium, releasing energy that can no longer hide in darkness. In an instant, a burst of radiant light escapes, scattering dust and illuminating the newborn star's surroundings. You just witnessed the birth of light, the first true beacon of the universe. Imagine the feeling. After millions of years of darkness, the cosmos suddenly sees itself for the first time. The light bounces off drifting dust, glimmers on icy particles, and paints the inside of the nebula with streaks of violet and gold. Around you, the space that once seemed empty now glows like a living canvas. The star breathes, expanding and contracting as it finds balance. Every pulse sends out waves of radiation, invisible yet powerful, sculpting the surrounding gas into delicate arcs and filaments. You can almost feel the warmth on your skin. Not burning, just a soft reminder that energy and life have returned to the cosmos. This, scientists say, is how every star begins, in darkness, under pressure, in silence. And when the first fusion reaction ignites, that darkness ends forever. It's a process both chaotic and gentle, violent yet tender, like the heartbeat of a universe learning how to shine. But not all stars are born equal. Some clouds are too small to sustain fusion. They flicker briefly, glow faintly, then fade, never bright enough to become full stars. These are the failed suns, the brown dwarfs, silent reminders that not every dream of light succeeds. Yet even they serve a purpose. Their faint warmth keeps the fabric of space alive with gentle energy, preventing total coldness. You float past one of these newborn systems, a cluster of infant stars still wrapped in veils of dust. The light seeps through the haze, soft and golden, reflecting off particles that spin lazily in orbit. Within this cloud, new worlds will someday form, tiny grains sticking together, growing into pebbles, then mountains, then planets. You realize something profound. The light you see now is ancient. It traveled billions of years through space before it found your eyes tonight. The photons that left those early stars have crossed galaxies, past dying suns, brushed past black holes, and somehow arrived here. Gentle messengers from the dawn of everything. You take a slow breath, even though you don't need to breathe here. The air is gone, but the peace remains. Around you, the darkness now glows softly. It's no longer empty, it's alive. Somewhere far off, another star ignites, then another. A chain reaction of brilliance sweeps across the cosmos, like a field of fireflies in eternal night. The universe is no longer blind. It's awake, shimmering, radiant. As you drift through this newborn light, you feel the same quiet spark inside yourself, a reminder that you, too, were born from darkness, from collapse, from pressure, and that your light, too, is meant to shine. You drift closer now, through the soft veil of cosmic dust, toward a mature star glowing in tranquil gold. It pulses gently, like a living heart suspended in eternity. Around it, planets swirl in long, graceful orbits, tracing invisible patterns through time. For a moment, you feel the warmth of its light, not the harsh glare of a furnace, but the steady glow of a companion that has been burning quietly for billions of years. Every star lives a life, just like you do. It's born, it grows, it changes, and eventually it fades. The difference is only in the scale of time. While human lives are measured in years, a star's life unfolds in eons. Yet its journey, in essence, is the same. It is a story of balance between gravity pulling inward and light pushing outward. Inside this golden sun, gravity presses hydrogen atoms together with such force that they merge into helium, releasing light and warmth. This steady fusion is the star's heartbeat, and it will continue for billions of years as long as there is fuel to burn. Every flicker of starlight you see tonight is a sign of that perfect equilibrium. You drift across different stars, some small and quiet, others blazing with ferocity. Red dwarfs, the most common stars in the universe, are like patient monks of the cosmos, dim, cool, and enduring. They burn their fuel slowly, lasting trillions of years, longer than the universe has even existed so far. If the cosmos were a forest, these would be its ancient trees, standing long after all else fades. In contrast, blue giants live fast and die violently. They're massive, brilliant, and short-lived, cosmic celebrities that burn with the brightness of a million suns, but only for a few million years. Their lives are a flash of glory before the inevitable collapse. Scientists still marvel at their sheer intensity, a beauty that borders on self-destruction. Somewhere between these extremes lies a star like our sun, stable, balanced, peaceful. It is neither in a rush to die nor too cold to be forgotten. It simply exists, giving life to its planets, nurturing, steady. If you could listen closely, you might hear its surface crackling with magnetic storms, feel its plasma waves curling through space. It's a reminder that even serenity hides within it a quiet power. You pause, gazing at a vast star cluster nearby, hundreds of suns born from the same cloud, now slowly drifting apart. Each one shines with a slightly different hue, depending on its temperature and mass. It's like looking at a cosmic family portrait, each member aging at its own pace. Some already flicker toward their end. Others are still in their youth, burning bright and proud. And yet, beneath all that brilliance, every star carries a secret longing, the knowledge that its light will someday fade. The same fusion that keeps it alive also consumes it. Eventually, the hydrogen will run out, and the balance will break. The star will swell, redden, and begin its final transformation. But that's not sadness. In the cosmic rhythm, nothing truly ends. The death of one star seeds the birth of another. The heavy elements forged in its heart, carbon, oxygen, iron, will drift through space, waiting to become the next generation of suns, worlds, and perhaps living beings. You think about that as you float on, the idea that everything, from stars to people, is part of one continuous cycle of transformation. Life, even on a cosmic scale, is never wasted. It's just shared. The light from the star before you has traveled for ages to reach your eyes. It doesn't ask for recognition. It simply shines because that's what it was born to do. And maybe, in some small way, that's what you're meant to do too. The star pulses once more, its light scattering gently through the dust, golden, ancient, infinite. You close your eyes, and the glow lingers behind your eyelids, steady and calm, as if the universe itself is whispering, "Breathe in and keep shining." You open your eyes again, and the universe now shimmers in color. It isn't the flat black of night, nor the silver pinpricks you're used to seeing from Earth. Out here, each star glows with its own shade, a living spectrum of cosmic emotion. Some blaze with icy blue light, others radiate warm gold or deep crimson. The space around you feels like a slow-motion aurora, a sea of color drifting through infinity. Each hue tells a story. A star's color is not just beauty, it's a language. Blue stars are the hottest, their surfaces reaching tens of thousands of degrees. They burn so fiercely that they live fast and die young, leaving behind only ashes of brilliance. Red stars, on the other hand, are cool and calm, their light soft and soothing. They endure for trillions of years, their slow glow a patient reminder that longevity favors restraint. You drift closer to a cluster of stars, young, restless, still surrounded by glowing clouds of gas. Their combined light washes through the nebula, painting the gas in waves of teal and magenta. The dust acts like a cosmic prism, scattering shorter wavelengths and letting only certain colors pass through. The result is a nebula that looks alive, breathing color into the void. It's easy to forget that what you're seeing isn't painted light. It's energy, born from atomic fusion deep inside stellar cores. Every shade represents temperature, composition, and age. It's the ultimate science of serenity, physics made beautiful. Astronomers have learned to read these colors like musicians read notes. From the faintest hue, they can tell what a star is made of, how hot it burns, and even how fast it's moving away or toward us. The color shift, that gentle stretching or squeezing of light waves, is how we know the universe is expanding. Every redder glow means the star is drifting farther, carried outward by the invisible breath of cosmic time. But colors can also deceive. Sometimes, a star that appears white is actually all colors at once. A perfect blend of every wavelength, too balanced to reveal a single tone. It's light in harmony, pure and complete. The sun, you know, glows like that, a warm white that hides within it the full spectrum of the rainbow. You pause near a red supergiant. Its enormous surface ripples like slow waves of molten fire. Its light is deep and calming, like candlelight through fog. It's nearing the end of its life, but it doesn't struggle. It glows with quiet dignity. The gas around it shimmers in shades of rose and amber, as if the star itself were exhaling the colors of its memories. Then, in the far distance, a blue giant flashes, so bright that even from light years away, its brilliance cuts through the haze. Its color is sharp, electric, alive. You realize that what feels serene from afar is, up close, a violent dance of energy and gravity. Yet it still looks peaceful, as if chaos and calm were two sides of the same truth. Colors aren't just something stars show, they're what they give. Every warm hue that reaches your eyes tonight once lived inside the heart of sun. And when those stars die, their light continues to travel forever, painting the darkness long after their bodies are gone. Somewhere, in that endless flow of color, is the starlight that made you. The iron in your blood, the calcium in your bones, the carbon in your skin, all once shimmered in the belly of a star, glowing blue or red, depending on its mood and age. You're not just seeing the cosmos, you're remembering it. The universe speaks in color, but not everyone listens. Tonight, though, you do. You let the light wash over you, each wavelength a lullaby, each hue a heartbeat of the cosmos. Blue fades to gold, gold melts into red, and all the colors dissolve into one soft, infinite glow. You feel it, not as sight, but as calm. The kind of calm that only comes when you realize you, too, are part of this spectrum. Not separate, not small, just another shade in the universe's endless masterpiece. You drift through the velvet dark, surrounded by starlight, so soft it feels like a whisper. Yet there is no sound. Space is silent, truly, absolutely silent. No echoes, no air, no vibration to carry a voice. And still, somehow, you sense the music of the universe everywhere around you. It isn't a sound your ears can hear, it's something deeper. The rhythm of gravity pulling, fusion pulsing, magnetic fields rippling like invisible strings across billions of miles. It's the kind of silence that hums, not empty, but full of hidden motion. If peace had a sound, this would be it. Astronomers call these hidden vibrations stellar oscillations. Stars don't stay perfectly still, they breathe. Their outer layers expand and contract in subtle waves, creating pressure changes that ripple through their plasma bodies. If you could convert those waves into audible tones, each star would have its own note, its own timbre. Some would boom like drums, others would ring like glass bells in the cold. You glide near one, a golden star, trembling faintly as its energy flows through it. You can't hear it, but you feel it. A faint pulse, steady and calm, reaching out like a heartbeat across space. It beats once every few minutes, a perfect cosmic metronome. The rhythm is so precise that scientists can measure a star's size and age just by listening to it through instruments that detect those oscillations. Every star has its own song, and when astronomers combine them all, they form a cosmic orchestra, a symphony played not with instruments, but with light. The deep, slow tones of red giants blend with the quick, high frequencies of smaller suns. Together they create what physicists call the music of the spheres, an ancient idea reborn in modern science. You drift through this silent concert, feeling each vibration as it passes through you. The space between stars seems to shimmer, like ripples spreading through an invisible ocean. For the first time, you understand why so many ancient cultures believe the heavens were alive. Because in a way they are. The Milky Way itself hums faintly, a resonance born from the gravitational dance of its hundreds of billions of stars. Even galaxies have their own subtle frequencies, ultra-low waves that stretch across millions of light years, too slow to ever be heard, yet always there, shaping the rhythm of the cosmos. And if you were to listen closely, not with your ears, but with your imagination, you might even hear Earth's place in the harmony. The crackle of the aurora's magnetic dance, the soft breath of the atmosphere, the endless hum of life beneath the stars. It's all part of the same silent song. You realize something beautiful. Silence doesn't mean absence. In the universe, silence means balance. Every force, every wave, every flicker of energy perfectly aligned. Nothing shouts because nothing needs to. The thought soothes you. You begin to slow your breath, sinking unconsciously to the rhythm around you. The vast quiet doesn't feel lonely anymore. It feels protective, like being held in the palm of something infinite. You understand now that space isn't void, it's rest. The first people to study the stars must have felt this, too. Even before telescopes, even before equations, they looked up and felt the same hush, the same awe that comes from realizing that light can move in silence and still be heard by the soul. You drift through the dark a little longer, feeling the slow beat of the universe echo through your mind. Every few seconds, a faint flicker of light blinks somewhere far away. Not random, but rhythmic, as though the cosmos itself is breathing. You close your eyes. For a brief moment, your heartbeat joins the pattern, a single note added to the song of existence. Then everything fades again into stillness, pure and endless. The sound of silence, the language of peace. You drift further into the depths of space, where the stars grow older, heavier, and redder. They burn slower now, but inside, storms are brewing. Immense, unstoppable forces that will soon change everything. The calm light that has shone for millions of years begins to flicker. Somewhere in the heart of one of these giants, the balance between gravity and light is starting to fail. You approach a red supergiant, vast enough to swallow our entire solar system. Its surface boils with slow, rolling waves of plasma, each the size of continents. It glows dimly, like a fading ember, but beneath that surface lies unimaginable tension. The star is dying. For most of its life, it fused hydrogen into helium, holding gravity at bay with the outward pressure of light. But that fuel is gone now. The core contracts, crushing itself tighter and tighter. Heat rises beyond comprehension, enough to ignite new kinds of fusion, forcing helium into carbon, oxygen, and heavier elements. Layers form like the rings of an onion, each burning a different element. You can sense it, the quiet panic of physics reaching its limits. The star's core becomes dense, hard, and desperate to hold itself together. But gravity is patient. It waits until the very last moment, and then, in a single heartbeat, it wins. The core collapses in on itself with ferocious speed, faster than light could cross the star's surface. The outer layers, now unsupported, crash inward, rebound, and explode outward with the power of billions of suns. A supernova. You don't see it at first. The silence is too vast, too complete. Then light, blinding, pure, eternal. It floods the darkness like a sunrise for the cosmos. Every direction glows. Every shadow disappears. You float within the expanding shockwave, watching fragments of the stars scatter through the void. Each piece glows like molten gold, carrying with it the ingredients of new worlds. Iron, nickel, silicon, everything that will one day form rocks, oceans, and even life. You realize you're witnessing not destruction, but creation. Somewhere in the chaos, the star's collapsed core keeps shrinking. If it's massive enough, it becomes a neutron star, a sphere no larger than a city, but with the mass of the sun. You could stand on its surface for less than a second before being crushed under gravity 1 billion times stronger than Earth's. It spins rapidly, sending beams of radiation into space, like a lighthouse for eternity. Astronomers call these pulsars, stars that died, yet still beat with impossible precision. If the dying giant is even larger, it doesn't stop there. Its core collapses beyond comprehension, past the point where matter itself can exist. The result is a black hole, gravity so intense that not even light can escape. It is the end of a star and the beginning of a mystery. You look into that darkness now, a perfectly silent sphere, distorting the light around it, bending time itself. You expect it to feel terrifying, but it doesn't. It's calm, peaceful, as if the star, after all its burning, has finally found rest. The ancient poets were right in their metaphors. Stars are like lives. They shine, they struggle, they collapse, and in doing so, they give birth to something new. Out of their endings come the elements of breath, blood, and memory. Every supernova is a seed thrown into the garden of the universe. You drift among the glowing remnants, colorful gases swirling outward in expanding rings. This is a nebula now, a cloud that will one day birth new stars. The cycle continues, endlessly repeating, endlessly transforming. Death is just another way for light to travel. You think of the atoms in your hands. Though you have no body here, you can still remember. They were once inside such a star, forged in the core of something that lived and died billions of years ago. You are, quite literally, the ashes of ancient giants. The explosion fades, its light dimming as the gases spread thin. Silence returns. The universe, unbothered, moves on. Somewhere else, another star begins to falter. Somewhere else, light is reborn. The stars live and die not in vain, but in rhythm, a heartbeat of creation that never stops. And as you drift through the quiet ruins of a dead sun, you feel it again, that soft, infinite calm that comes from knowing everything, even endings, are part of the same gentle design. You drift now through a region of space that feels strangely familiar, even though you've never been here before. Around you, clouds of gas and dust float in delicate filaments, hazy rivers of material glowing faintly in starlight. They look soft, like smoke frozen in slow motion. Each tiny grain, each whisper of dust, carries a history far older than any world, any sun, any life. You reach out in your mind and imagine holding a single particle between your fingers. It's unimaginably small, invisible to the naked eye, and yet inside it lies the memory of stars. This is stardust, the ash of exploded suns, drifting through the galaxy for billions of years, waiting for its next roll. You've heard the phrase before, you are made of stardust. Tonight, you let it sink in. Literally, the iron in your blood, the calcium in your bones, the carbon in your skin, all of it was forged in the furnace of dying stars. Inside red giants and supernovae, atoms were crushed together, layer by layer, until simple hydrogen became the complex elements you rely on just to exist. You picture a massive star in its final moments, its core working through a cosmic recipe, hydrogen to helium, helium to carbon, carbon to oxygen, building heavier and heavier elements until it can go no further. When it finally collapses and explodes, those newly created atoms are thrown into space, scattered like seeds in a garden. Over time, they cool, condense, and join with dust and gas in huge interstellar clouds. You're floating inside one of those clouds now. The material here is thin, spread across light years, but gravity is patient. Slowly, almost lazily, it gathers dust grains together. They bump, stick, spin. They form clumps, then pebbles, then worlds. Some of that stardust will become the core of a rocky planet. Some will remain drifting in space, catching stray beams of starlight. Some will end up, against all odds, inside a nervous system thinking about where it came from. That nervous system is you. There's something quietly funny about it. The universe evolving from simple hydrogen gas into complex beings who lie in bed at night, staring at their screens or their ceilings, wondering why they feel so tired and yet so full of thoughts. You, a temporary arrangement of stardust, spending a few decades thinking, feeling, worrying before returning that borrowed matter to the cosmos. Scientists can trace this lineage with surprising precision. They study the spectra of stars, the fingerprints of light, to see which elements are present. They compare this with meteorites, rocks, and even your own body's chemistry. The conclusion is always the same. The heavier elements had to be made somewhere, and that somewhere is inside stars that are long gone. You're walking evidence of long-dead suns. But there are still questions that make the story even more mysterious. We know how the atoms formed, but why they arranged themselves into conscious beings is still a puzzle. How did stardust learn to think? Why did atoms, following simple physical laws, decide to organize into cells, brains, and quiet late-night reflections like this one? Some scientists argue that given enough time and complexity, life is almost inevitable, just another phase of matter, like ice or vapor. Others suggest that consciousness is far stranger than we realize, perhaps linked to deep features of the universe we barely understand. The debate is wide open. No equation, yet, fully explains what it feels like to be you, a cloud of atoms that remembers, hopes, regrets, and dreams. You drift through the dust, letting that thought settle. You're not separate from the cosmos. You're an expression of it, a temporary pattern in a much larger tapestry. You're not under the stars. You are the stars, rearranged for a little while into a human shape, with human worries and human joys. You think about ordinary things now, and they suddenly feel a little magical. The hemoglobin carrying oxygen through your blood, making you yawn and relax before sleep. Its iron core was once inside a star's heart. The calcium hardening your teeth and bones. It was fused in some distant sun that exploded before our solar system even existed. The carbon in your brain, in every thought you have. It was lit up in the glow of ancient supernovae, then cooled, scattered, and recycled into you. Even the air you breathe on Earth has a cosmic story. Oxygen, nitrogen, carbon dioxide, all formed from atoms born in forgotten stars. Every breath is a quiet exchange between you and the universe, a reminder that you're made of the same stuff as the night sky you fall asleep under. You imagine all the stars that contributed to you, not just one, but many, a whole ancestral line of suns, each one living, burning, collapsing, and sharing its ashes with the galaxy. If you could trace your atoms back, you'd find entire stellar lifetimes mapped inside your body. You are a mosaic of explosions, a collage of light turned into flesh. There's a deep comfort in that. When you feel small, you can remember that you're built from the most ancient, resilient material there is. When you feel alone, you can remember that every particle in you has traveled for billions of years, touching nebulae, passing newborn stars, drifting through interstellar night before arriving in you. You're not an outsider looking at the universe. You're the universe looking at itself. You drift one last time through the glowing dust, watching it swirl in slow, graceful spirals. Somewhere in these clouds, a new star will someday form. Around that star, new planets will coalesce. On one of those planets, maybe life will arise. Perhaps creatures will sit beneath an alien sky, wondering what they are made of, wondering where they came from. The answer will be the same: stardust. You exhale, even if only in your imagination, and let your thoughts loosen. Your worries feel a little lighter now, as if they too are just patterns of passing atoms. You are temporary, yes, but so beautifully connected to everything that has ever shone. Stardust in you. Not two things, but one story told slowly over billions of years. Now pausing for a moment here, tonight, as you drift gently towards sleep. You move through a quieter part of the galaxy now, where the light begins to fade. Around you, the familiar brilliance of bright suns gives way to dim embers, the stars most people never see. They don't make it into telescope photographs or bedtime stories. They hide in the cold, almost invisible, yet they vastly outnumber the glowing giants we admire. These are the hidden stars. You float through a region filled with them. Red dwarfs, brown dwarfs, and neutron remnants scattered like faint sparks in the dark. They are smaller, cooler, humbler than the blazing suns of earlier sections. Yet together, they form the silent backbone of the Milky Way, a secret population keeping the galaxy's light alive even when the brightest stars die. A red dwarf drifts nearby. It's tiny, perhaps 1/10 the size of our sun, and burns with a deep crimson glow. If you were standing on a planet orbiting it, the sky would always be twilight, bathed in gentle ruby light. It's not dramatic, not blinding, but steady, and it will remain that way for trillions of years. These little stars are immortal by human standards. They sip their hydrogen instead of gulping it. Their lives will outlast galaxies. You get closer, and its surface flickers. A quiet storm rolls across it. Magnetic flares leap into space, but their power is small compared to the violent tempests of larger stars. This one seems content to exist quietly, radiating just enough warmth to keep its invisible planets alive. Scientists have begun to find such worlds, small rocky planets orbiting dim red suns, where the sky glows copper and the sun never truly sets. Some of those worlds might even harbor life. It's strange to think about. Civilizations, perhaps, evolving under a red sky, never knowing the brilliance of daylight as we do. Their world would feel soft, muted, calm, the kind of light that invites rest rather than ambition. Maybe such beings, if they exist, would live more slowly, more thoughtfully, in harmony with the faint warmth that sustains them. You drift onward, and the stars grow even dimmer. Now you encounter brown dwarfs. Not quite stars, not quite planets. They were born like stars, collapsing clouds of gas, but they never grew massive enough to ignite sustained fusion. They glow faintly from leftover heat, their surfaces dull purple and smoky. If stars were voices, these would be whispers. For centuries, astronomers suspected they existed but couldn't see them. Only recently have we learned how to find them, by their faint infrared glow, the warmth they leak into the cold of space. They are everywhere, hidden in plain sight, drifting silently between brighter suns. Some call them failed stars, but the name feels unfair. They're not failures, they're pauses, the universe taking a quiet breath between acts of creation. You imagine floating near one, seeing its soft violet shimmer against the black. The light doesn't hurt your eyes. It's tender, like the glow of a candle seen through mist. Its atmosphere is full of swirling clouds, storms bigger than planets, but everything moves slowly, as if even chaos is tired here. And then there are the remnants, the ghosts of stars that once shone brilliantly. You pass a white dwarf, no larger than Earth, but as dense as the sun. Its light is steady, pure, almost sterile, the last breath of a star that burned itself out. Inside it, no fusion remains. It glows only with leftover heat, cooling over billions of years until it will someday fade into darkness. Nearby floats a neutron star, a relic of a supernova. It's no bigger than a city, but it spins hundreds of times per second, releasing beams of radiation like the ticking of a cosmic clock. Its gravity is so strong that a teaspoon of its material would weigh billions of tons. And yet, from here, it looks peaceful, a tiny, pulsing light in a sea of stillness. You start to see a pattern. The universe doesn't waste anything. Even when stars fail, fade, or fall silent, they still have purpose. They hold the galaxy together. They radiate just enough warmth to nurture what might come next. They remind us that even faint things, even quiet lives, can fill infinite darkness with meaning. You think about how often the brightest things in life draw all the attention, while the quieter ones, the steady, patient presences, go unnoticed. Maybe the universe is telling you something, that not everything meaningful shines at full intensity. Some truths, some beauties, are meant to be subtle. Some lights are meant to be felt, not seen. You pause for a while, surrounded by these hidden stars. They flicker like embers in a dying campfire, low but eternal. You realize that when the universe grows old and cold, these will be the last to survive, keeping a dim glow alive long after the great giants have gone dark. It's humbling and strangely comforting. Even in the farthest future, when galaxies are fading and time itself slows, there will still be warmth. There will still be light. The hidden stars will keep their quiet watch, patient as ever, whispering to whoever or whatever still listens. I'm still here. And as you drift among them, you feel that same message settle in your chest. A small, steady reassurance that even the faintest light matters. Even your light. You glide through the darkness again, and suddenly you realize some stars are not alone. Their light flickers rhythmically, a soft shimmer that brightens and fades in perfect timing. As you draw closer, you see why. Two suns are circling one another, locked together in a slow, eternal waltz. It's hypnotic to watch. One star glows golden, calm and patient. The other burns blue-white, sharp and restless. They revolve around a common center of gravity, invisible between them, their motions perfectly synchronized. Like dancers in a silent ballroom, they move with grace born of physics, their steps dictated by gravity's unseen rhythm. Binary stars are more common than solitary ones. Most of the lights you see in the night sky are not single stars at all, but pairs, sometimes even triplets or more, orbiting together through time. Some are close enough that their outer layers touch, sharing gas and energy. Others orbit so far apart that they only glimpse one another every few centuries. You drift closer, careful not to disturb their balance. The larger the two stars pulls at the smaller one, drawing glowing streams of gas from its surface. The material spirals through space like ribbons of gold, forming a bright ring that glows against the black. You're watching stellar love and loss happening at once. One star feeding the other, both bound in an embrace they can never escape. It's beautiful and tragic all at once. The giving star loses itself slowly, piece by piece, until one day it may vanish entirely, absorbed by its partner. But the dance continues, the orbit remains. In this endless pull and release, energy flows, light flows. Even destruction becomes part of creation. Astronomers call these pairs mass transfer binaries. They're some of the most dramatic systems in the cosmos. In some cases, the energy from the accretion disk, that glowing ring of falling gas, becomes so intense it emits X-rays, invisible beams of power shooting across the void. But from here, in this dreamlike calm, all you see is a quiet glow, pulsing softly in the distance. Farther ahead, you encounter a different kind of pair, two white dwarfs, the dead hearts of former suns, orbiting each other with incredible speed. They're so close that tidal forces stretch and distort them like drops of liquid light. One day, they will spiral inward and collide, releasing a final burst of brilliance before merging into one. To an observer light years away, That moment will appear as a new star in the sky, a nova, the brief resurrection of something thought gone. Not all binaries end in harmony. Some are doomed from the start. Unequal partners destined to tear each other apart. When a massive star dies first, collapsing into a black hole, its smaller companion often remains tethered to the darkness, circling endlessly, shedding its light into the invisible. In those systems, the light and the void coexist, one feeding the other, one bright, one silent. And yet, even that is strangely tender. The universe doesn't separate opposites. It lets them orbit one another, forever intertwined. Light and dark, giving and taking, burning and falling. You begin to see that this is not just a pattern of stars, but of everything. Balance isn't static, it's motion. Harmony isn't peace, it's rhythm. You float above another pair now, much gentler this time. Two red dwarfs spinning slowly, their gravity weaving them together like a thread of light. They've probably been dancing for billions of years, and will continue for trillions more. Around them drift faint planets, warmed by the light of both suns. If you could stand on one of those worlds, you'd see twin sunsets every evening, two glowing disks sinking below the horizon, painting the sky in overlapping shades of rose and violet. You wonder what it would feel like to live under such a sky. Would you feel twice as alive, twice as small? Perhaps you'd never forget that light can come from more than one place. That warmth and beauty can coexist even in the coldest night. Binary stars remind you that connection is universal. Even in the vast loneliness of space, gravity ensures companionship. No star truly dances alone unless it chooses to. Some orbits last lifetimes, others mere moments. But each one is part of a cosmic choreography stretching across galaxies. As you drift away, the twin stars shrink into a single, their lights blending until you can no longer tell them apart. From a distance, they look like one. You realize that maybe that's how everything appears from far enough away. All separations dissolve into unity. The stars continue their orbit, unseen but eternal. You can almost feel the slow spin, like a heartbeat of the universe itself. Pull, release, pull, release. You breathe with it, eyes half closed, body light, drifting to the same rhythm. Two lights, one dance, one cosmos, infinite connections. You drift closer to the familiar part of the night sky, the one you've seen from Earth countless times, though tonight, you're seeing it from within. The constellations spread around you, not as flat patterns painted on darkness, but as deep, three-dimensional fields of light. The stars that seem to sit side by side are actually separated by unimaginable distances. Yet from Earth, they align just so, forming shapes, symbols, and stories that humanity has carried for thousands of years. You hover near Orion, his belt gleaming like three jewels strung across space. From here, the stars of his body scatter in all directions. One burns close, bright and orange, the giant Betelgeuse, swollen and nearing its end. Another, Rigel, blazes in icy blue light, young and fierce. Between them lies empty space, hundreds of light years deep. Yet when seen from Earth, they form a warrior's outline, a figure so ancient that nearly every civilization has named it. You realize that constellations are not truly out there. They live in us. They are a map drawn not on the sky, but on the human mind. A way for early stargazers to turn chaos into pattern, darkness into story. Before science, before telescopes, humans looked up and saw meaning. The hunter, the lion, the swan, the scorpion celestial reflections of the life below. You glide now toward Cassiopeia, her 5 stars forming a crooked W in the heavens. From her, you can trace Perseus, Andromeda, and Cepheus, an entire myth frozen in light. Each name, each connection, is a fragment of human imagination stretched across the cosmos. The stars themselves don't know they're part of a story, yet they carry those stories for millennia, their light outliving empires, languages, and lives. From afar, Earth is just another speck among billions. But for countless generations, it has been the one place where the sky has been told in words. You remember that the first astronomers were poets, and the first poets were astronomers. Their verses and maps both born from the same desire, to understand what it means to exist beneath something so vast. You move through the constellations like a traveler wandering through myths. Here is Lyra, the harp of Orpheus, whose music was said to charm the stars themselves. There is Cygnus, the swan, forever gliding through the Milky Way's river of light. Scorpius curls its luminous tail around Antares, glowing blood red like a warning. The constellations are eternal performances, playing to audiences who come and go, sleep and wake, live and die, but always look up. Even modern astronomers, armed with data and technology, can't resist naming what they find. Nebulae are called cat's eye, horsehead, pillars of creation. Galaxies become sombrero, whirlpool, or tadpole. The impulse never left us. We still make the sky human. You notice that as you float through these imagined figures, they begin to dissolve. Without the perspective of Earth, the connections disappear, and the stars return to randomness. And yet, even that randomness feels meaningful. Maybe the universe doesn't need our patterns. Maybe we need them to make sense of our brief moments under its endless expanse. For a moment, you think of the ancient people who stood barefoot on the ground, tilting their heads back to trace these same lights. They didn't know about fusion or gravity. They didn't need to. The constellations were their maps of wonder. They're reminders that even in darkness, something shines. And then you realize, every generation redraws the stars. Astronomers map them by coordinates, artists by feeling, dreamers by memory. But the stars themselves don't change. It's our eyes that move, our time that passes. The constellations are reflections of who we are when we look up, each era etching its own meaning onto the same canvas. You turn slowly, watching as the great figures fade and reform. Orion to Scorpius, Ursa Major to Pegasus, like shifting constellations of thought. There's no boundary between myth and science here. Only different ways of describing the same awe. For a moment, you wonder, if another species on a distant world looks up, what shapes would they see? Would they trace their own stories between the same stars? Would they, too, feel small and infinite all at once? The stars around you pulse faintly, and it feels like an answer, a gentle yes, whispered across light years. Awe is universal. You linger among the constellations a little longer, letting their stories settle into silence. You feel the shared breath of every human who ever looked up and wondered, who ever tried to turn chaos into pattern and found comfort in connection. The night sky is more than science, more than myth. It's a mirror, and as you drift through its reflections, you see both the endless cosmos above and the ancient imagination below, bound together, forever mapping each other. You drift now into a quieter quadrant of the galaxy, where something feels different. There are fewer points of light here. The familiar star field thins out, and the darkness between suns grows wider, heavier. For the first time, You notice not what is there, but what is missing. Some stars, astronomers have found, simply vanish. One night they shine like any other, steady and bright. The next, they're gone, erased from the sky. No explosion, no fading trail, just silence. The data shows they were there, and then they weren't. It's one of the universe's strangest mysteries. You pause near one such region, the space where a blue supergiant once lived. It should have gone supernova, releasing a burst of light visible for millions of light years. But it didn't. Its brightness just dimmed slowly, then stopped. Some believe it collapsed directly into a black hole, its entire mass falling inward without ever producing the fireworks of a dying star. Others think it may have been obscured by dust or swallowed by its own shadow. Either way, its light is gone, a cosmic candle snuffed out without a trace. You look into the emptiness where it once was. It's not scary, though. The void feels peaceful. It's a kind of silence that invites reflection. Stars vanish, yes, but maybe disappearance isn't always loss. Sometimes it's transition, a step beyond what light can show. Scientists have begun to catalog these vanishing stars. Over a few decades, hundreds of them have flickered away without visible cause. Each one might be a clue or a whisper of some process we don't yet understand. Some may have collapsed into quiet black holes. Others may have shifted into phases of existence our instruments can't yet detect. There's even speculation about cosmic phenomena we don't have names for, events that consume light itself. You imagine how strange it must be for light, after traveling across space for millions of years, to simply stop, to reach you as a memory of something that no longer exists. When you gaze at a star, you're really looking into the past. Some of the light hitting your eyes tonight began its journey before humans existed. The stars could already be gone, and you're just seeing their final message, still on its way to you. It's poetic in a quiet way. This idea that the universe is made of ghosts. Every photon is a fragment of what was. You are surrounded by messages from the dead, still shining, still beautiful. You drift through a stretch of interstellar space, so dark it almost feels like liquid. No stars, no glow, only the faintest background shimmer of the cosmic microwave radiation, the afterglow of the Big Bang itself. It's the softest light possible, the memory of the universe's own birth. Even in darkness, nothing truly vanishes. Everything leaves an echo, and then, as if in response, a faint glimmer appears. A single point of light, so subtle you almost think you imagined it. But it grows stronger just a little. Perhaps a star re-emerging from behind a dust cloud, or a new one being born. You realize that the night sky, even when it loses something, never stays empty for long. It fills itself again. Astronomers often say, we live in the golden age of seeing. Our instruments can peer across time, capturing photons that began their journey billions of years ago. Yet even with all our tools, the universe still knows how to hide. It still keeps secrets. Maybe that's part of its beauty, that not everything must be seen to be real. You think of your own life, how some moments, some people, have disappeared quietly, leaving only faint traces in memory. Maybe they're like these vanished stars. They're not gone completely. Their light just reached its destination and faded. What remains is the glow you carry. You take a slow breath, imaginary but grounding, and realize that the cosmos itself works the same way. Things appear, shine, and disappear, and yet the whole never loses its light. You move onward through the shadowed space, feeling less afraid of the dark now. It isn't emptiness, it's renewal. Every vanished star makes room for another to be born. Every silence is a pause between notes. Ahead, the faint glimmer grows brighter. Maybe it's a new star igniting, or maybe it's just your own awareness adjusting to the dark. Either way, the lesson is the same. The universe doesn't mourn what fades. It remembers, transforms, and continues. You drift closer to the light, feeling its warmth brush against your mind like a comforting hand. Stars disappear, but light never truly dies. It just changes direction. In that realization, you feel something inside you unclench. The loss, the fading, the vanishing, none of it is final. It's all part of the same endless flow. You are still surrounded by the stars, even the ones you can no longer see. You drift now into the vastness again, surrounded by countless points of light. Some gleam with youthful energy, others shimmer faintly, already fading into age. But what strikes you most tonight is not their beauty, it's their age. Every star you see is a messenger from the past. You are, in a very real way, surrounded by time travelers. Light takes time to move. Even though it's the fastest thing in existence, it's still bound by distance. When you look at a nearby star like Proxima Centauri, you're seeing it as it was over 4 years ago. The light from a North Star left hundreds of years ago. The light from the Andromeda Galaxy began its journey before the first human civilizations built cities. The glow of the farthest galaxies captured by telescopes left when the universe itself was only a fraction of its current age. That means the night sky is not a snapshot, it's a time lapse. Every twinkle a different frame in the universe's unfolding story. When you gaze upward, you're not looking at what is, but at what was. You're seeing the cosmic past all at once. You drift between two bright stars now, their lights streaming across space like threads. You realize that the light touching your face right now began traveling long before your ancestors were born. It crossed the emptiness for millennia, carrying the image of a star that might not even exist anymore. Every photon that reaches you tonight is a survivor of time, a traveler who has crossed cosmic oceans just to tell you, I was here. It's humbling, and yet strangely comforting. We spend our lives trapped in the present, always moving forward, rarely able to glimpse the past. But out here, the past is everywhere. Every direction is history still shining. Astronomers use this to study how the universe changes. When they point their telescopes at distant galaxies, they're effectively looking back in time. The Hubble Deep Field, for instance, shows galaxies whose light left them over 13 billion years ago, just a few 100 million years after the Big Bang. Those faint smudges of color aren't the universe now. They're childhood photos, still developing, still raw and full of potential. You float near a beam of light as it streams past you, a single photon, maybe traveling for billions of years without touching anything. It has crossed nebulae, avoided black holes, slipped between galaxies, and yet still finds its way here. It's a traveler that never stopped moving. You realize that, in some small way, we are all like that photon, moving through space and time, leaving trails of light for others to someday find. And it's not just starlight that carries history. The faint glow of the cosmic microwave background, the afterglow of the Big Bang, is the oldest light of all. It's everywhere, a soft whisper left from the universe's birth. If you could see in microwaves, the sky would glow faintly, evenly, with the memory of creation itself. It's as if the cosmos never forgot its first dawn. You think about how strange it is that we can see the past, but never the present. When you look at a friend, you're technically seeing them as they were a fraction of a second ago. The time it takes for light to travel from their face to your eyes. When you look at the moon, you see it as it was a little over a second ago. When you gaze at distant stars, you're seeing scenes that ended long before life began on Earth. Every act of seeing is an act of time travel. Even now, as you drift in this cosmic dream, your own body is radiating faint infrared light into the universe. You, too, are sending a signal forward, a message that might travel endlessly long after you're gone. Somewhere, someday, maybe an observer will detect it, a tiny warmth in the void, and wonder about its source. You are both observer and observed, both traveler and destination. You begin to imagine what the universe would look like if you could see all time at once. Every photon, every star, every past and future event overlapping in one eternal moment. It would be blinding, chaotic, infinite. And yet, maybe it would also be still, a single heartbeat stretched across eternity. That's what time really is. You think, a heartbeat. The universe expands and cools with each pulse, and light is its rhythm. Every star, every galaxy, every eye that has ever looked up is part of that rhythm. You're part of it too. The stars around you flicker softly, their light rippling through invisible rivers of gravity. You realize you're surrounded by the past, but also, in a way, by the future. Some of the light you see will go on, bouncing off dust and planets, continuing to travel long after you stop watching. You are inside the flow of it, not separate from it. So you let go of the need to know what time it is. Here, time is everywhere. You don't move through it. It moves through you. The light keeps coming, ancient and patient, a steady river across the void. You close your eyes and feel it touch you, not as warmth, but as memory. Billions of years condensed into a single, silent shimmer. You are a witness to the past. You are also part of the story it tells. You drift now toward the center of everything, the glowing heart of the Milky Way. From afar, it has always appeared as a misty river of light stretching across the sky. But from here, up close, it's a storm, a luminous whirlpool of hundreds of billions of stars, all orbiting a common center. The space around you grows golden, then white, then black again as shadows cut through radiance. This is where gravity reigns supreme. At the core lies something invisible, a supermassive black hole known as Sagittarius A star. For a million times the mass of our sun, yet small enough to fit within the orbit of Mercury. You can't see it directly, of course. You only see what it does. Clouds of gas swirl toward it like water down a drain, heating to millions of degrees as they fall. The friction turns them into light, a fierce glow that outlines the invisible. You expect chaos, but instead you find rhythm. The stars near the center move in precise, perfect ellipses, like dancers around a silent conductor. Each orbit takes decades, centuries, millennia. The black hole holds them all, unseen but undeniable, the quiet anchor of the galaxy's motion. For centuries, scientists suspected something strange was there. They tracked the movement of nearby stars and found them speeding up, swinging around an empty point in space. Nothing visible could hold such power. When the first image of its shadow was finally captured, a ring of fire circling darkness, it confirmed what Einstein had predicted over 100 years before, that gravity could bend light, and that space itself could fold into itself. You hover at a safe distance, watching streams of gas arc around the black hole. They glow bright blue where they accelerate, then fade into red as their light is stretched by gravity. It's beautiful in a way that feels ancient, a reminder that even destruction has form, even collapse can be graceful. And yet, even here, life goes on. Around this dense core, new stars continue to form from the compressed gas clouds. Whole clusters of young suns are born in the same region where others are being devoured. Creation and annihilation, side by side, the heartbeat of the galaxy. It's strange to realize that everything you've ever known, every star in a Milky Way, orbits this single point of gravity. Even the sun, even Earth, even you. It takes about 230 million years for our solar system to make one full orbit around the center, one galactic year. The last time we were here, dinosaurs walked the Earth. The next time, who knows what will exist to look up and wonder. You begin to feel small again, but not in a frightening way. There's a comfort in knowing that even at the scale of galaxies, there's structure, there's balance, there's motion. It's not chaos, it's choreography. Every star, every planet, every drifting particle plays a role in a cosmic dance that began long before anyone could give a name. You watch as one small star swings perilously close to the black hole. For a heartbeat, its light stretches, distorts, and then it flings away, saved by speed. It will return again, someday, following its invisible path through space-time. The black hole's pull is both a threat and a guide, a dark teacher that keeps everything in orbit. The ancients thought the heavens revolved around Earth. Then we learned that Earth revolves around the sun. And now we know that even our sun revolves around something else, a darkness brighter than comprehension. The further we look, the more we realize that we are always circling something greater. You take a slow breath as you drift near the galactic center. The starlight here is dense. Millions of suns glowing in every direction, turning night into an eternal dawn. If you could hear them, the chorus would be deafening. Yet in your mind, it's silent, calm, almost reverent. You begin to sense the weight of time here. Billions of years compressed into one endless moment. Stars born, stars dying, all orbiting the same invisible heart. The Milky Way feels alive, a vast organism, pulsing with energy, breathing light and darkness in perfect rhythm. And then you realize something profound. You are inside it. You've always been. Every thought, every heartbeat, every flash of inspiration is part of this same system, a tiny echo of the galaxy's own heartbeat. You are not outside the Milky Way, watching. You are one of its cells. You let that truth settle into you, deep and quiet. Around you, stars swirl in luminous spirals, each one a fragment of eternity in motion. Somewhere at the center, a darkness waits, not as an ending, but as a reminder that even gravity, even silence, can hold the universe together. The heart of the galaxy beats slowly, steadily, endlessly, and for a moment, you match its rhythm. You drift now toward the edge of the Milky Way, past the bright whirl of its spiral arms. The light begins to thin, and the stars grow fewer, scattered like whispers across the dark. Beyond this border lies the unknown, an ocean of other galaxies, each one containing billions of suns, too far away to ever touch, too far even to imagine fully. You turn back for a moment, looking at your home galaxy from the outside. The Milky Way glows like a silver disk suspended in the void, a wheel of light rotating gracefully through nothingness. Every single star you've seen, every story, every life, every thought, all of it exists within that single glowing swirl. And beyond it, there are trillions more. The sheer scale is overwhelming. But you don't feel lost. You feel calm, because the further you go, the more you realize that the universe isn't empty. It's infinite company. You begin to glide among the nearest neighbors. There's Andromeda, a massive spiral rushing toward the Milky Way at unimaginable speed. In about 4 billion years, the two galaxies will collide and merge into one. A slow, elegant dance that will last for hundreds of millions of years. If anyone is watching then, they will see the night sky transformed, filled with hundreds of billions of new stars. What will it be called? Not the Milky Way, not Andromeda. Something new, something born of their union. Perhaps Mulcometa, as some scientists playfully say. Farther out, you see the Triangulum galaxy, faint but full of youth, its arms dotted with pink clouds where stars are still being born. And beyond even that, clusters upon clusters. Virgo, Coma, Hercules, vast cities of galaxies stretching beyond sight. They're connected by filaments of dark matter, invisible bridges that form the largest structure in existence, the cosmic web. It's strange to think that all of this, every galaxy, every cluster, began from the same event, the same burst of expansion billions of years ago. You're looking at the universe growing, stretching, still in motion. Even now, space itself expands faster than light can travel, pushing the farthest galaxies away from us forever. There are realms of the cosmos we will never see, never reach. Their light, no matter how fast it moves, will never arrive. But there's peace in that too, because the beauty of the universe doesn't depend on our seeing it. It exists in silence, whether or not anyone is watching. You realize that not every mystery needs to be solved. Some are meant to simply be admired. You pass a lonely galaxy drifting at the edge of visibility, a faint smudge of light, isolated, with only a few thousand stars. Perhaps it was cast away from a cluster long ago, or perhaps it's one of the universe's orphans, forming alone in a forgotten corner of space. Its dim glow feels fragile, but you know it will keep shining for billions of years. Even solitude, it seems, has its light. And then, as you move farther, something extraordinary happens. The background light, that faint glow between galaxies, becomes noticeable. It's not just blackness out here. It's filled with the afterglow of every star that ever lived, faint and constant. Astronomers call it the cosmic optical background, the sum total of all light the universe has ever made. You're literally swimming in the combined memory of creation. It feels like being inside a dream, quiet, vast, infinite. You realize that no matter how far you go, you're still surrounded by light. Even when stars fade, their photons keep traveling, overlapping, merging into a gentle radiance that fills the void. The cosmos remembers every shimmer, every flash, every sunrise that ever was. Somewhere far beyond, there are galaxies so distant that their light has been stretched into invisibility by the expansion of space. They are moving away faster than light itself, receding into cosmic silence. You will never see them, never know their shape or color. But maybe that's the point, to accept that mystery can be beautiful even when unseen. You think of the phrase beyond our reach, and it no longer feels like loss. It feels like promise. There will always be something more, something farther, something just outside the edge of understanding. The universe will never stop giving you reasons to look up. You turn your gaze back toward the Milky Way one last time. From out here, it's small, a glimmer among billions. And yet, you know it holds everything you've ever loved. The idea that something so immense can feel so intimate is a kind of miracle. You breathe slowly, letting the thought settle. Stars beyond your reach will continue to shine, unseen but real. They don't need to be found to exist. They don't need to be touched to matter. The universe is larger than longing, older than fear, deeper than understanding. And yet, somehow, it fits perfectly inside a single human heart. You drift now into a future so distant that even imagination begins to thin. The galaxies behind you fade, their lights stretched into darkness by the slow expansion of space. The brilliant tapestry of stars that once filled the night has dimmed. Billions of years have passed. You are now in the twilight of the universe. The cosmic dance continues, but slower now. The great engines of creation, supernovae, fusion, collision, have grown quiet. The galaxies are red and tired, their youngest stars long since born, their oldest slowly fading. The universe is aging gracefully, its once fiery heart cooling into calm. You glide past a lonely red dwarf, one of the last remaining stars. It glows faintly, a small ember in infinite night. Its light is steady, warm, patient. These little suns, ignored for so long, are the final keepers of illumination. They burn slowly, gently, making their hydrogen last for trillions upon trillions of years. And even when their light finally fades, they'll leave behind quiet white dwarfs, faint but not forgotten. Around you, planets still circle these last stars. Some are frozen worlds, their oceans locked beneath ice. Others are barren, dusted with the remnants of long-dead moons. Yet on one of them, perhaps improbably, there might still be warmth, still a spark of life clinging to the last traces of starlight. You imagine what they might see if they looked up. Not constellations, not clusters, just a single red glow in an endless sea of black. As you drift onward, the distances between stars stretch wider. Eventually, the last suns cool into black dwarfs, cinders of what once was. No more fusion, no more light. And yet, even in that final silence, the universe is not empty. The atoms themselves still hum faintly with quantum energy, still holding the echo of all that came before. Time stretches further still. Galaxies drift apart until they can no longer see each other. Gravity grows weaker with distance, and space itself expands like a slow sigh. Even black holes, those eternal anchors of gravity, begin to fade, evaporating over unimaginable ages, releasing the last whispers of energy back into the void. The darkness becomes complete. But even here, in this absolute quiet, something remains. A faint radiation, the final glow. Not light in any color you can see, but energy spread thinly across infinity. The last heartbeat of a universe that once sang with stars. The cosmos hasn't died. It has transformed from brilliance into memory, from motion into rest. You listen, and you can almost hear it. The softest hum, the final note of the cosmic symphony. It's not sad. It's peaceful. Everything has found balance again. And then you realize this isn't just a story about endings. It's about continuity. Because even the last light, the traces of all that ever was are still here. Every atom that once burned in a star, every photon that once lit a world, every breath that once filled a living being, all of it still exists, just in quieter forms. The universe never stops being. It simply changes how it exists. You begin to sense that same transformation within yourself. The light that guided you through these stars, the wonder, the curiosity, the quiet awe, it doesn't fade. It expands. It becomes softer, deeper, more still. You are no longer separate from the cosmos. You never were. You were the universe, dreaming of itself, watching its own story unfold. The final glow around you begins to fade, but you don't feel fear. You feel weightless, calm, infinite. There's no boundary now between you and the stars, between what was and what will be. Only continuity. only peace. If anyone were here to see it, a being from some future cycle, some reborn cosmos, they might detect this faint afterglow and wonder what came before. And in that moment, your story, this story, would live again. Because endings are just pauses. The universe will begin again someday, from silence, from stillness, from a whisper. And maybe, when it does, you'll be there too, as dust, as energy is light, part of the next dawn, the next dream. The last star fades, the final photon drifts, the darkness sighs, and you, small and infinite, drift with it, glowing softly in the quiet of everything. You've traveled far tonight, through the birth of light, the life of stars, their colors, silences, collapses, and rebirths. You've drifted through myths and galaxies, through time itself, from the first spark of creation to the last flicker of the final star. And now, the journey comes to rest. Close your eyes for a moment. Imagine all those stars you visited, the giants, the dwarfs, the hidden ones, the vanished ones, slowly dimming in your mind, until only one remains. It's not out there in the distance. It's within you. That same warmth, that same light, has always been yours. The universe is vast, yes, almost unbearably so. But tonight it feels intimate, quiet, close. Every breath you take echoes the rhythm of cosmic expansion. Every heartbeat mirrors the pulse of stars. Every dream carries starlight older than memory. Let the immensity fade into comfort. Let the mystery become calm. You don't need to understand everything. You only need to feel the peace of knowing you belong to it all. Somewhere, out there, light still travels, ancient, patient, endless. It will go on long after you sleep. And maybe, if the universe is kind, a fragment of your own light, your laughter, your thoughts, your love, will keep traveling too. So rest now. Let the hum of the cosmos cradle you. You are safe. You are infinite. You are starlight remembering itself. Sleep, traveler of galaxies. The universe will keep spinning while you dream.